Hi guys, so Byline TV interviewed the head of a freight company based in Felixstowe who explained the problems facing his industry and business post-Brexit. A big problem with the coverage of Brexit is that we hear a story about a company once every few months, but their problems have been continuing to get worse. 2022 is going to be a very challenging year, as in July we will see new checks coming in. These aren't new for the EU, they are for the UK though. Later on, this paperwork will continue to be added to. It could be make or break for some companies, and Jon here, who was interviewed, explained what it means for haulage as well.
Not particularly political, but I've been drawn into the politics arena because of Brexit. How much work do I have to do this job now? You know, there's layers and layers of red tape being introduced, more and more. Everything has to be coordinated. Before this, you know, whatever it was, year and a month, the driver would just come across and that would be it. But now there's so much to think about. Our business was very much geared up for the just-in-time framework. We could load in Belgium, deliver in, say, Birmingham within 24 hours. Now it's just not possible. If I was a haulier in the EU, I wouldn't bother. That's it, I just wouldn't bother. When Brexit happened, I had staff in tears, you know, coming to me, why do the English hate us? You know, and I didn't have an answer to that. And now we have problems in lots of industries where, you know, we don't have enough people to do the jobs. You know, and it's just a crazy situation. The government can pretty much have got carte blanche to just say, it's the pandemic. But, you know, in our industry, we know it's not. It's just luck for them, you know, that it happened that way.
So it's luck for the government that it happened that way. Now, there are a number of things to say about this. First of all, the UK is a third country. And because of that, it no longer has influence over EU decision making. You're a rule taker, not a rule maker. And while the UK was a member of the European Union, it was part of the rulemaking. It decided what type of checks could be put in place. Now, if the European Union decide to change something over the next number of years, increase standards, for example, UK-based businesses are going to have to adapt to those rules. And they have no way of influencing those rules because there are no MEPs. There are no British MEPs. Now, of course, that can change, and we know how that can change. If the UK rejoins the European Union, it would have MEPs again. If it at least rejoins the single market and the customs union, it would still be a rule taker, but it would have easier access to the single market. He mentioned here just in time, and of course, many other people within many different sectors of industry have been explaining how just in time is pretty much dead post-Brexit, because just in time relies on very rapid dynamic supply chains, and those have disappeared post-Brexit because goods have to arrive at the port. They have to be the paperwork has to be checked, has to be completed. In some cases, goods have to be checked. This takes time. It slows everything down, and you can't have a just-in-time system where you rely on goods arriving within hours. That's not possible anymore. He also talked about haulage companies, you know, from the EU will no longer want to continue. And of course, he touched on the racism here, the abuse that many drivers have faced since Brexit. When we've seen it last year, or in 2020, at the very end of the Brexit transition period, where during the pandemic, the end of year pandemic, foreign drivers were stuck at Dover and they weren't able to get through, and they were not respected by the British government. They were treated pretty much like crap. He also mentioned a lack of staff. Of course, this is because of the ending of freedom of movement, and of course the government are blaming all of this on the pandemic. Now, as I said at the beginning of this, things are going to get worse because more checks are coming. July, November, we're going to see more and more. And this is adding to the already difficult situation regarding paperwork. A third of companies who are exporting are saying that they may not actually be able to operate in 2023 because of all of the new bureaucracy And as I said before, this is not new. It's been the case for third countries for a long time now. But now that the UK Great Britain is a third country, it has to follow these rules. Some companies will find ways around it, others will not. But unfortunately, 2022 is not going to be a good year for exporters. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.